مكتوب ماذا مكتوب ماذا مكتوب المكتوب مكتوب
قريب بسم الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن القاسم بن محمد قال دخلت على عائشة رضي الله عنها فقلت يا أماه اكشفي لي عن قبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وصحبيه فتكلمت لي عن ثلاثة قبور لا مشرقة ولا لاطئة
ولا لاطئة
مفتوحة
ببطحاء
أرسة حمراء رواه أبو داود.
Okay, interesting hadith here. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وعن القاسم بن محمد, narrating authority of Qasim ibn Muhammad, قال دخلت على عائشة, I went to Aisha Siddiqa رضي الله تعالى عنها, يا أمه, oh my mother, اكشفي لي عن قبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وصاحبيه, open for me, show me, because remember that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Abu Bakr and Umar was buried where? In the house of Aisha. Open for me for the qabrs of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his companions. فكشفت لي عن ثلاثة قبور. She opened for me 3 qubur, right? لا مشرفة, not very very high. Remember what we told you? The qabr should be like about arm's length, what we call a zira, the hump of a camel, right? Wala lati'atin, and not very flat and low, right? Madbuhatin. Is it in a shara you got anything on madbuha? Just check the meaning of that madbuha, tabaha, madbuha. So madbuhatin, small stones like Badha al-Amr, like Badha Arsa is just referred to a empty land. So Badha, you can say sprinkled or covered, right? Like in Badha is Arsa, like the desert sands of Makkah with red stones. Sprinkled with red stones of the desert sands of Makkah. So what he's saying is that fine grains of sand from the desert. This is how the qabr of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his companions were covered. What you got for Badbuha?
ثم ماذا قال قاري؟ Again, from the top. Pay attention.
What? Oh, Madbuha. Let me see what you got there. Bring it here.
السلام عليكم. ماذا قال قاري؟
Where is it?
ماذا قال قاري؟
I think that refers to that. Remember Madbuha. Where is it? Right. So I think what they're saying here is we must check this translation, a nice translation, but what translation I worked out here is that like Batha el Arsa is like the plains, or like the red sand, the red soil that is found in the plains of Medina. You understand what I'm saying? So La Mushrifa, not very, very high. We told you that it should just be the height of a what? Of a camel's hump, right? Lati'atin, not flat with the ground. About 1 arm's length, right? But buha, they say is from batah. Huh? Spread over, sprinkled with red stones. Like Batha al Arsa al Hamra, like the open plains of Medina. Like how so it's like how the open plains of Medina would have this red little stones. This year also it was on the qabr of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Arsa also means like not a specific place, but just Arsa also means the open place of Medina. And Hamra is then the sifat of, right, بِبَضْحَاءِ الْأَرْسَةِ الْحَمْرَاءِ. That is mudaf, mudaf ilayh, which becomes the mawsuf, and the hamra becomes a sifat, right? Which is the color of the open place of Medina. So spread. So B here, you translate it. If you get a better translation, you must tell me, but this is what I try to work out. I try to, you can check if you got, but this is what I said, madbuhatin, sprinkled, like bees, like the red open plains. Like how in the red open plains, you get this red sand. So this is how the qubur, like it was obviously was part of Medina. So whatever the landscape of Medina was, that is what was found there. You see what I'm saying? So again, look at it again. La mushrifatin, not very high. Wala laqi'atin, not very low. Badbuhatin, right? Sprinkled like bibatha'i al-arsati al-hamra'i, like the open plains, the red open plains. And here I refer to red open plains of Medina particularly, right? يا خير من دفنت بالقاء أعظمه فطاب من طيبهن القاء والأكم نفس الفداء لقبر أنت ساكنه فيه العفاف وفيه الجود والكرم أفاطم إن جزعت فذاك أزر وإن لم تجزعي ذاك السبيل فقبر أبيك سيد قبر وفيه سيد الناس الرسل. Right, okay, read the next hadith. So that is just explanation of the qabr of Nabi Sallallahu, what very high, not very low, and it was covered in like the red soil of the open plains of Medina.
من البراء بن عازب رضي الله عنهما قال خرجنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في جنازة رجل من الأنصار فانتهينا إلى القبر فلما يلحد بعد فجلس النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مستقبل القبلة وجلسنا معه. رواه أبو داود والنسائي وابن ماجه وزاد في آخره كأن على رؤوسنا الطيرة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن البراء بن عازب narrating authority of Bara ibn Azib قال خرجنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في جنازة رجل من الأنصار. Once we went out with Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم in the janazah of a person of the Ansar. فانتهينا إلى القبر, when we came to the qabr, ولم يلحد, he wasn't put in the grave yet for whatever reason, maybe they were still preparing the grave or whatever reason it was, right? فجلس النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مستقبل القبلة, Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم sat facing the Qibla, probably making dua, reading, whatever. وَجَلَسْنَا مَعَهُ, we sat with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam facing the Qibla while they were preparing the grave. رواه أبو داود والنسائي, Abu Dawud and Nasai narrates from Ibn Majah. وزاد في آخره كأن على رؤوسنا الطير, as though there was on our heads birds. So this particular hadith here, remember we spoke about not sitting before the qabr, you mustn't sit until you must stand and wait until the person is buried and all that type of thing. So this is relevant to that. And then also, some ulama say also when you make dua by the grave, you shouldn't face the grave, you should face Qibla rather. Why? Because facing the grave, sometimes some people get the wrong meaning, they get the wrong impression, especially like in India and Pakistan, those where they believe that the dead can help you, the deceased can help you, and they pray directly to the deceased and ask from the deceased. So here it's safer to face the Qibla, right? And then the Sahabi saying that we sat so quiet and so still as though that so still that the birds would think we are statues, the birds would come, they could actually come and sit on us. وإذا رأيت جنازة محمولة فاعلم بأنك هكذا محمول سبحان الله. When you see a janaza being carried وإذا رأيت محمولة فاعلم they know بأنك هكذا محمول, that no, you will also be carried one day like this. You will also be carried like this one day. Read the next riwayat.
قال تصبح ابن الميت بكسبه حيا رواه مالك وابي داود بن ماجه.
Right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وعن عائشة narrated on the authority of Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha. She said the Rasul said that the breaking of the bones of the deceased is like a kasrihi, like breaking it when he's alive. Rawa Malik wa Abu Dawud wa Ibn Majah. We know there is, so what is hadith saying? Like if you break the bones of a living person, or rather you break the bones of a deceased person, it's like breaking the bones of a living person. So we know we discussed this several times. There is a link between the, although the soul of a person is in alam arwah or is in the barzakh, whatever, but there is a link between the soul and the body. And there's ample proof to show that there is a link between the body and the soul. There's ample proof to show there is a link between the body and the soul. You know, I was telling you that one story also. That somebody had in India, he had a lota, earthen clay. And at times the thing used to become very hot, the water in it. So he couldn't understand. So he took it to one pious person. This pious person, he made the wajju, made dua. So it was revealed to him that this earthen pot was made from the clay of a grave of a person who's getting the azab of Allah Ta'ala. Right? So sometimes you see the effects of what that person is happening to that person on the grave also, because there is not a complete direct link like how when you're alive, you know, like how you in this dunya, there's 100% link between the soul and the body, but there is a link. That is why you go to the graveyard to make dua, that person hears you, etc., etc. So you can say like a telephonic link or something like that. So but nevertheless, what this hadith is saying here is that like how you respect a living person, you must also respect the body of a deceased person. So when you're making ghusl, you won't just manhandle the body, throw the body, abuse the body, be rough with the body. Then they say also from the adab and the etiquette is that also you won't use boiling water, scalding water on the body of the deceased. You'll use the same temperature water that you will use for a living person. Here the author goes into a deep discussion. I don't want to go about it, that where people, you know, the medical fraternity, they desecrate the bodies of people, they use them to experiment and all that type of thing. So we say, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Verily we've honored Bani Adam. So their body also, the bodies also need to be respected, right? Okay, read the next hadith.
أنس رضي الله عنه قال سيدنا أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تدخل ورسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم جالس على القبر فرأيت عينيه تدمعان فقال هل فيكم من أحد لم يفارق الليلة وقال أبو طلحة أنا قال انزل في قبرها فنزل في قبرها رواه البخاري.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رأيتنا authority of Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, shahidna binta Rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We witnessed the daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tudfanu, being buried. Wa Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam jalisun ala al-qabri, and the Rasulullah was standing at the edge of the qabr. فرأيت عينيه تدمعان. I saw his two eyes tearing. فقال هل فيكم من أحد. Then Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he is anyone from amongst you, lam yuqarif, لم يقارف الليلة. He did not have relationships with a woman last night. That is, he was not intimate with any woman. فقال أبو طلحة, Abu Talha said, أنا, me. قال فأنزل, right? So he said, so the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, فقال أبو طلحة أنا, I did not have relationship, intimate relation. قال فأنزل في قبر هذه. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, go into a qabr. فنزل في قبر هذه. He went into her qabr. رواه البخاري. Imam Bukhari narrates this particular riwayat. This is a ajib, what you call it, ajib incident, this, that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that person didn't have any relationship with his wife or with his slave girl. He used to go into the qabr. Anyway, the daughter of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, yeah, it is Kulthum, was married to Hazrat Usman. After the demise of Hazrat Ruqayya radiallahu ta'ala anha, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wedded Uthman to Hazrat Kulthum. Tadma'ani from Dam'un wa ta'ain. One is Damun, which is blood, ne? Dal, mim. But Dam'un wa ta'ain, that is tears. So Dama'a yadma'u tadma'ani means to tear. So we see from this here that I told you the natural grief a person experiences, that is nothing wrong, but to object to the decree of Allah Ta'ala, that is a problematic. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq to accept his decree. So I was telling you, this is ajib lam yuqarif laylata, that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wanted somebody who did not have relationship with his wife to go into the grave. What is the reasoning? What is the rationale for this? Interesting, very interesting. It is mentioned here that as Kulthum was ill for a while. Right? So, right? So Kulthum, ne? Which wife was this that passed away, what I said now earlier? Huh? Kulthum, yeah. She was ill for a while. And as a man has needs also, right? So that same night, Hazrat Uthman radiallahu ta'ala spent some time with his slave girl. And Nabi Sallallahu was a bit unhappy about that. He felt that Uthman should be making the khidmat of Ibn Kulthum. And at the same time, because Uthman radiallahu ta'ala was such a shy, modest, bashful person, Nabi Sallallahu didn't want to tell him straight out that he's not happy with what happened last night. So by saying that Nabi Sallallahu knew he was spent some time with his slave girl, so Nabi Sallallahu said that person who spent time with the lady last night shouldn't go into the grave. So he was trying to show his displeasure with Hazrat Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu. At the same time, he didn't want to openly criticize him or castigate him. But after all, he was a man. And obviously, come again? Yes, husband is allowed to go in the grave. There's also discussed here. So after all, he was a man. He had needs. His wife was sick. So he spent time with halal. He spent وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. And after all, Nabi Sallallahu was the father. And he also felt hurt that, like, that. So it's all to do with temperament. But at the same time, he never openly tell him. And they say here, Kulthum was ill for a while also, but she didn't, although she was not feeling well at all that evening, she was making sabr. She never said anything. She never complained anything. And Uthman went to spend some time with his slave girl. So the question is why Rasulullah never go himself into the grave. Maybe he had an uzr, maybe he had some injury, or maybe it was advanced stage at that time or whatever, so it was difficult for him to go in. So generally, when a lady passes away, you tell that the maharim, like the sons, etc., they must go into the qabr. But many a time it happens so where the woman doesn't have a mahram also. The woman doesn't have a mahram. So then, under those circumstances, obviously there is a need. So anybody can go into the qabr. Then anybody can go into the qabr. Okay, read the next riwayat, inshallah.
قال عمرو بن العاص رضي الله عنه قال لابنه وهو في سياق الموت إذا أنا مت فلا تصحبني نائحة ولا نار فإذا دفنتموني فاستنوا علي التراب شنا ثم أقيموا حول قبري قدر ما ينحر جذور.
You got juzur or jazur?
يقسم لحمها حتى
ويقسم لحمها
ويقسم لحمها حتى
حتى أستأنس
أستأنس بكم
بكم.
أستأنس بكم ماذا أراجع به رسلا
Yeah. ماذا أراجع به رسل ربي رواه مسلم. Narrating authority of Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As narrates قال لابنه, he said to his son, وهو في سياق الموت, whilst he was سياق الموت, you can say in مرض الموت, إذا أنا مت, when I pass away, فلا تصحبني نائحة. They just translated says mourners. So in Ayyam Jahiliyyah, prior to the advent of Islam, it was like a sign of pride that the more people cry for you, the better. The more people cry for you, the better. So you would get special ladies that you could hire them. They will cry and mourn and scream and pull at the hair, sometimes even pulling the hair out, tearing their clothes in frustration. But it's all an act, they're doing it. So this is what so he said, I don't want this because Islam has prohibited this. Wala narun, and I don't want any fire with me. Also in Ayyam Jahiliyyah, it was a custom that they would have a fire and sometimes they would burn some incense, whatever, right? So I don't want all these customs of Ayyam Jahiliyyah with me. I want the pure Sunnah. And he says, فَإِذَا دَفَنْتُمُونِي فَشُنُّوا عَلَيَّ التُّرَابَ. Then when you bury me, then sprinkle upon me the sand, shannan, maf'ula mutlaqna. ثُمَّ أَقِيمُوا حَوْلَ قَبْرِي. Then stand around my qabr. Now in those days, obviously there wasn't time like how we have today, but you say stand to my around by my qabr. The amount qadra ma yunharu jazurun, the amount in which a camel is slaughtered, wa yuqsamu lahmuha, and its meat is divided, right? So hatta comes like so that hatta asta'nisa bikum, so I can take comfort from your presence. I can feel familiar, comfortable with your presence. وَأَعْلَمُ مَاذَا أُرَاجِعُ بِهِ رُسُلَ رَبِّي. And because of your presence, I will know. وَأَعْلَمْ مَاذَا, what I must أُرَاجِعُ بِهِ, reply to it, right? رُسُلَ رَبِّي, the messages of my Rabb. Who refers to here? What I must reply to the angels. When they ask me, Man Rabbuk, Ma Dinuk, Man Hadha Rajul, etc., etc. Rawahu Muslimun, Imam Muslim narrates. Okay, first thing, Nahiya, I told you to us a custom in Ayyam Jahiliyyah that they will have this special morning ladies. Morning, MOURNIG, morning ladies, it was cream. So that's obviously, and then also they should have a fire that was like, that would accompany the janazah. So as Amr ibn As, he clearly mentioned, I don't want all these customs, I don't want all these bid'at, etc. So the slaughtering of a camel and the distributing of the meat was like also a means to measure time. I don't know, if you haven't come across it, you'll come across it in Kitab Salat, where the Sahabi say that we were able to read Asr, we were able to go to the outskirts of Medina to slaughter a camel and divide the meat and come back in time for Maghrib. You came across this riwayah. You see, it was like so you must stand to that extent. So while the angels are questioning me, you must make Isa alayhi salam for me. In fact, in the next hadith, we're going to do some explanation or some hadith about sending reward to the deceased. You make Isa alayhi salam, tilawat, istighfar. So this will be a means of comfort for me when the angels are questioning me. It will be a means of comfort for me when the angels are questioning me. That if you are there and you are reciting, etc., it will assist me to answer correctly. It comes in Abu Dawud. You'll do this, inshallah. There's a riwayat in Abu Dawud Shareef, where Nabi Sallallahu, after burying somebody, he told the Sahaba Ikram, make istighfar for your brother and make dua that Allah Ta'ala keeps him firm, because now he is being questioned. So Hazrat Amr bin As was making reference to this, that I will be questioned, and if you are there making dua for me, that will assist me in answering my questions. Okay, time is up. We stop there. We'll continue tomorrow, inshallah. Subhanallah, bihamdihi, subhanakallah, bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.